Bonsuelo, mathletes. Okay, here we go. What we're going to do is take a look at examples of complex fractions. And I already gave you one before, but some of these may look a little different. But we're not going to do anything different than what I said before. Find the lowest common denominator for all of it, for every term, both in the numerator and denominator, all of it together, and then multiply top and bottom by it. So here, this is what we're going to do. We've got denominators of 2, 3, 5, and 6. And the common denominator for that would be 30. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the top by 30 and the bottom by 30. Again, this is not an equation, so you can't multiply just by 30. Okay, it has to be something equivalent to 1. So now we're going to distribute this 30 to each of these. And you should be able to do this in your head at this point. Okay? So what's 1/2 times 30? That's 15. Okay, when you take 2/3 times 30, the 3 and the 30 cancel to give you 10, and then 10 times 2 is 20. When you take on the bottom, the 30 times 3/5, the 5 and the 30 cancel to give you 6, and you take 6 times 3, which is 18. And then when you take 30 times 5, 6, the 6 and the 30 cancel to give you 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. And then we simplify that. That'll give us 35 over, what's that going to be? 43. And if I could cancel that fraction, I would. Okay? So that's the basic idea. Now, I do want to point out something. You can do it this way. If, it is possible to do it another way. And that is, take these two fractions, add them, take these two fractions, add them, and then invert and multiply. Just make it a one fraction on top, one fraction on the bottom, and then just divide them. But this is actually a lot faster, especially as the problems get harder. So the common denominator is 30, so we take 30 over 30, and then we give the 30 to each one, each fraction. Okay? Now here, what's the common denominator for this? First of all, you have to realize that the 5 and the x are separate factors. Okay? So what do you do to find the common denominator? You take all factors raised to their largest exponents. Let's take a look at all factors. So let's find the least common denominator first of all. Okay, we have a 5. We have a single x by itself. We have the quantity x plus 5. Whoa, what happened there? That was weird. Okay, on the bottom here we have an x. Fine, and we've already got the x, and another x plus 5. Okay, so that's the common denominator. We have 5 times x plus 5. So what we're going to do is multiply top and bottom by 5x and x plus 5. And we're going to give that to all 4 of these fractions. Okay, so on the first fraction, the 5 and the x cancel, so we're left with 2 times x plus 5. And actually, you could skip writing this step. I just don't want to kind of lose you here. Okay? On the next fraction, the x plus 5s cancel, so we're left with 3 times 5x. On the bottom, the x's cancel, so we're left with 7 times 5 times x plus 5. And on the last fraction, the x plus 5's cancel, so we're left with 5x. And then we just multiply this out. So we have 2x plus 10 plus 15x all over. Okay, that's going to be 35 right there. So I'm going to distribute 35. So that's 35x. And then 5 times 35, you might have to kind of do this off to the side. If you can't do it in your head. It's good if you can do it in your head, but 5 times 5 is 25. And then 15's 175. And then plus 5x. So you actually could have gone straight from this to that if you want to. You should be able to do that. It's not that big of a deal if you add this extra step right here, though. Okay. All right, now we have 2x and 15x is 17x. We have 35x and 5x is 40x. And then plus 175. And if I could factor and cancel something, oh, sorry, on the top, it's 17x plus 10. Sorry about that. If I could factor out something on the top and bottom and cancel, I would, but it doesn't look like it. Okay. So, again, the idea here is to find the common denominator. And by the way we're finding the common denominator is the same way you do it if you have, just simple addition or subtraction. Okay? All right. And then you multiply top and bottom by the common denominator. Okay. Now let's take a look at this one. This one's going to take a little more work. So we have, obviously it's a little more complicated, but it's the same idea. We'll find the common denominator and then multiply top and bottom. So we have x plus 2, and we're going to factor the bottom into x plus 3 times x plus 1 plus, and the denominator for this is going to be x plus 3 times x plus 2. Okay, here we have x. By the way, you can't cancel these things because of the pluses and minuses. It'd be nice if you could, but you can't. Okay? By the pluses and minuses, I mean the pluses and minuses here. That doesn't allow, that says you can't cancel these right here because of the pluses and minuses. Again, as I've said many times, look for a plus. If you want to take a shortcut, look for a plus or minus if you see you can't do it. Okay, anyway, this is x plus 3 times x plus 2. Okay. And then this one is x plus 2 times x plus 1. Okay, so let's look at the denominators. We have an x plus 3. It's obviously going to take a lot more writing than the last one. Okay, we have an x plus 1. I'm just finding the common denominator here. We have, okay, the x plus 3 we've already got. We've got an x plus 2. Okay, on the bottom, we've got the x plus 3. We've already got that. We've got the x plus 2. We've already got that. We've got the x plus 2. We've already got that. And the x plus 1. So we have every denominator to its largest exponent. Okay, so what happens? There's 4 fractions. Let's give it to this first fraction right here. Okay? What happens? The x plus 3's cancel, the x plus 1's cancel. So you're left with the original x plus 2. In other words, the numerator, this. Okay, we've got that. And then that's times the x plus 2 that's left over when we cancel the x plus 3 and the x plus 1. Okay, plus. Now we'll look at the second fraction, this one right here. Okay. We've got the x plus 5. And now what cancels here? The x plus 3's cancel, the x plus 2's cancel, so we're left with x plus 1. Okay, that's your numerator. On the bottom. Okay, we've got the first fraction has an x minus 7. And what cancels here? The x plus 3's cancel, the x plus 2's cancel, so we're left with x plus 1. Okay, then we've got the last fraction in the denominator is an x plus 1 in the numerator. And what cancels? The x plus 2's cancel, the x plus 1's cancel, so we've got x plus 3 left over. Okay? And now it's just a matter of multiplying it out. So on the top, we have x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then x squared plus 6x plus 5. On the bottom, we've got x squared minus 6x minus 7. Oh, sorry, that should be right here I made a mistake. Right, that should be a minus right there. Minus x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay, and now let's combine. So on the numerator, we have x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 4x and 6x is plus 10x. And 4 plus 5 is 9. And on the bottom, we have x squared minus x squared is nothing. Negative 6x minus 4x is negative 10x. And 7x minus 3 is minus 10. Okay, so now what we want to do is see if we can factor anything and just simplify the fraction, factor and cancel. Well, let's try the top. I don't know if this is going to work, but we should at least look at it. Because on the bottom, I can definitely factor out a negative 10. But let's just take a quick look at the top. Okay, so what times what gives us 2x squared, 2x and x? What's going to give us 9? It could be plus 3 and plus 3. Okay, that would give us a 9x in the middle. We'd have a 10x in the middle. Okay, what else could it be? It could be a plus 9 and plus 1. That would give us an 11x in the middle, which is not it. So, yeah, and there's nothing else that'll give us 9 besides 3 and 3 and 9 and 1. So that doesn't factor. So this right here is your final answer. Okay? Again, what I did is I found the common denominator, and then I took the denominator and multiplied it, just distributed it to the first fraction, then to the second fraction. Then I took this and multiplied it by the first fraction. So I shouldn't do it that way. It's really going to the numerator. And then to this fraction. And basically what you're doing is you're canceling out the denominators, okay? The denominators within the, so you're getting rid of the fraction within a fraction. You're not getting rid of the fraction itself. You still have a fraction as the answer. Okay, if you have any questions on that, please come and see me. Now, before I go, though, I'd like to mention something real quickly. I would just like to compare 3 things. Okay, first, 1/2 x plus, so this is a comparison. Plus 1/3 plus 1/5 x, and I'm just making this up, so it's not, okay? And the next one's 1/2 x plus 1/3 all over 1/5 x. Okay, this is what we did in the first part of this section, section 8.2. This, which is just addition and subtraction of fractions, this is what we've just finished doing, which is a fraction within a fraction. Notice neither one is an equation, so you can't get rid of fractions entirely. What do? Well, what we did before is you rewrite each fraction with the common denominator. Now, how do you do that? What's the common denominator here? The common denominator is 30. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, the first fraction, you don't multiply by 15. You multiply by 15 over 15. It has to be something over itself. On the second fraction, you don't multiply by 10. You multiply by 10 over 10. Okay? And then in this, you don't multiply by 6. The last fraction, you don't multiply 6. You multiply by 6 over 6. And then you combine those to get 21x plus 10 all over 30. Okay, well, that's what we did before. Today, what we're doing, though, is we're not getting rid of fractions entirely. We'll still have a fraction when we're done, but we're going to get rid of the fractions within a fraction. The common denominator is still 30. That's not changing. But what you do with it is different. What you do is you multiply numerator and denominator by the lowest common denominator. In other words, you multiply by 30 over 30. Notice that's not what we did in the first problem there. So when we distribute the 30, you get 15x plus 10 in the numerator, and you get 6x in the denominator. Okay? And that's the answer. Now, just so you know, eventually, in a few days, we're going to do this. 1/2 x plus 1/3 equals 1/5 x. Now, that's an equation, and that we can get rid of fractions entirely. So what you do is you multiply both sides, not top and bottom, but both sides of the equation by the lowest common denominator. Okay? And what you get when you multiply both sides by 30 is 15x plus 10 equals 6x. And then you would just finish solving that. So you'd end up with, 9x equals negative 10, and x equals negative 10/9. But that's the easy part. But make sure you understand, each one of these has the same common denominator because they're the same 3 fractions. What you do with it is different. And make sure you're very clear on that. When you don't have an equation, like in the first 2 problems here, you can't get rid of fractions. You can get rid of fractions within a fraction, but not fractions entirely. But on the third one, when you have an equation, you just get rid of fractions entirely. Okay, we'll pick up with that next time then. Have a good day, everybody.